Thank you, Peter, for joining me. He's the co-host of Kickaround on the Ticket. And I just wanted to kind of grab you and talk about some grass that's coming to the World Cup Stadium and just the process that goes behind, putting that field in place. We had previously talked a couple years ago when Copa America came to North Texas, and it's a very similar process from what I gather. But you posted a very detailed timeline on your Twitter page, and I just kind of want to give you the floor and kind of break down what is going into the process of making the World Cup pitch for the summer.
Okay. So prior to the World Cup, which is happening here starting in June, every soccer game that has been played at Jerry World or the Death Star or AT&T Stadium or Dallas Stadium, whatever you want to call it, has been played on a grass surface that by FIFA law, by the rules, is barely met the requirements for width. So every game that has been played prior to the World Cup at that stadium has been on a playing field of about 68 yards wide, which is very narrow for any level of competition, adult competition. But it while it meets the general FIFA rule for sizes, because like baseball, not all soccer fields are the same size. In fact, FIFA's regulations vary. They've got a range you can meet. But for World Cup games, the field has to be 75 yards wide. So when they found out they were getting World Cup games, they began to work on a process that they've known all along since the original plans of the stadium back a generation ago. They always knew that if they ever got lucky enough to host World Cup games, they would have to modify the stadium to accommodate the requirements for FIFA World Cup games square footage needs. And so that's what's been happening in the last month or so. So when you look at the thread, you'll see a time-lapse video of them putting in grass from the Copa in 2024. And that essentially 2 years ago was a test case to try to prove out that the grass and the grow lights and the irrigation system that they installed into the stadium just fundamentally worked. The field wasn't wide enough for World Cup, but it would work for the Copa. And this was really more a test case to prove out that they could put in a playable, lovely grass surface for an international soccer game. And that hit a home run, frankly. So the difference between what happened in 24 and what is happening for the World Cup is this crazy amount of dirt and pea gravel that they have dumped into the stadium floor that allows them to raise the elevation of the surface and go up and over the ground suites. So they then get all the width they need to accommodate FIFA requirements. That's a really long explanation, but that's the best for me to try to sum it up for you.
I think you did it beautifully. And I remember we talked about this, like I said, back in 2024 when they were doing it the first time. And when I covered that tournament, that was something that you mentioned. It was a home run. The players for the United States men's national team really, really liked the playing surface for that tournament, and they said it was phenomenal. So I mean, it seems like that what they did obviously worked really well.
Yeah.
And so, but I think one thing that fans might not realize going into it is just the aspect of they have to remove the suites off the ground floor in order to make room for all this stuff to go into place.
Yeah. So what was preventing them from playing all along a proper width field were these ground suites. AT&T Stadium has this really weird feature of these suites that are ground level. I've never understood them. The people that have them seem to like them, but it kind of hides you behind the teams that you're watching, especially for an American football game. So I've never quite gotten it. But for the World Cup, what they're having to do, and if you go to the thread, and I'll try to share this on some other social media platforms later. I'm trying to do a movie version of it, but not a movie. That sounds really haughty. I'm trying to do a video of it. It's my piece de resistance. Sorry. Is they had to essentially close off those ground suites so they could go all the way to the exterior walls in the furthermost corners of the stadium to get all the space they needed, not just for the playing surface, but also you got to remember it's a World Cup, so you need space for the teams, you need a place for the players to warm up, you need a place for the media, you need a stuff for the equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of room that is required for this purpose. And to do that, they've done some really clever stuff, starting with closing off the ground suites first by inserting these custom designed styrofoam giant blocks that are cut for each suite and then dropped into the cavity to fill the cavity. And then they put a wall up. They walled off the rest of it to the exterior wall of the ground level of the stadium. And then from there, that's when they began putting in all the dirt. And in the thread, the most remarkable photos, at least for me, is the comparison of what normally the process for players walking out of the player tunnel. So when you're watching a Cowboy game, the players run out onto the field through the main tunnel in the middle of the stadium, and that's a flat surface. There's no elevation change. It's go from inside to outside. It's the same elevation. Now there is literally a set of stairs, 5 steps at the field or come out of off the field down to the tunnel, and that's about 3 feet high. I don't know this 100% for sure in terms of measurements. I'm making a lot of guesses and estimations based on photos that I've seen, but it is multiple feet higher than normal. I didn't understand why they had gone up so high until the other day. And it finally dawned on me why they're going up, because not only is there 3 feet of this pea, gravel, and dirt, then there's almost essentially another foot on top of that of sand, the plumbing for the irrigation system that runs through the whole thing, and then actually the grass itself. So by the end of all of this, it's about, I think, 4 feet taller than where the concrete sits currently inside AT&T Stadium, or whatever you want to call it. And I think they've done that height, Paul, to accommodate sight lines into the corners, because when you begin to think about the football stadium, you know, when you're playing a regular football, the narrowness of it makes all the seats able to see all the way to the corner of the field. But when you go all the way to the corner walls at the normal height, there's probably all kinds of areas that would never be able to see play in the corners of a soccer game if it was down at concrete level. So what they've done is they've raised it this so everybody can see all the corners from wherever in the field are. And it's actually kind of ingenious. Again, this is me guessing why they've done it, but I saw something the other day that hinted at that. And that kind of answered the question for me. I was doing some calculations. I was told that the surface of AT&T Stadium, the concrete surface, is 92,000 square feet. And if I'm doing my math right, if you multiply that by 3 feet of dirt, that's just under 400,000 cubic feet of dirt that they have moved into the stadium for this installation.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so if you look at the photos, there's a photo of the steps from the player tunnel up.
Yeah.
That shows you, if you look at the photo prior to that, or there's a video of the players running out onto the field, or somebody walking through the tunnel, and there's an elevation change. Then you look at the next tweet, and there's a picture of the steps, and that will show you the elevation change. And it's on top of that the grass will go.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then when you account for the dirt and everything, and it ends up being a quote unquote elevated pitch from what it used to be. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a couple of other photos to look at. There's a couple of photos that show you the ground suites in their normal state, and you can kind of see the height of the wall that exists from the ground suite up to the bottom row of the regular seats. Now go look at the photo, that same player tunnel with the stairs on it. There's a photo from the bottom of the steps up onto the field, and then there's an associated photo from the top of the steps. Now look how much shorter that wall is, and you really begin to see how much height they've added to the surface. If somebody walks into the stadium, so if somebody walks into the stadium in June and they've never been in the stadium before and they didn't know the ground suites were a thing, this is all going to look very normal to them. Nobody's going to have any clue that they actually it up. I think it's 36 suites or whatever the number is. And they
Mm-hmm.
put all this dirt in there. It's just going to look like a beautiful grass field, at least in theory. Hopefully it'll hold up.
And then, do you know? Because I think when they did the Copa pitch, I remember it took about from the process from start to finish. They started about a month prior, and then
Mm-hmm.
the actual grass laying part of it was about 10 days before the tournament. Have you ever gotten any indication of how long that process is going to take this time?
Well, so the photos of the dirt and the steps and stuff showed up out of the blue about 3 weeks ago. And then they were promptly removed from the interwebs. But they were captured by a lot of people. And
Yeah,
once it's like the internet never forgets. Once they're out there, whether you want them to be or not. Um,
yeah,
so that part of it's done. But since then, man, everything has gone super quiet. So I don't know. It's possible the grass is already in. I think the
yeah.
first sign we will know that the grass has been installed is at night. If the stadium glows
The
pink,
grow lights.
they are growing grass inside the stadium, because that is the effect that happened at the Copa 2 years ago. Those grow
Everyone's like,
lights.
"What's going on in Jerry World?"
Right. It's not about to explode, and yes. That would be our first, official or unofficial confirmation that they're actually got the grass in the field. And I haven't had any reports that anybody has seen that yet. The lights are in there. I know that they're suspended from the ceiling. Um,
Mhm.
and it's kind of remarkable, man. The fact that Jerry has allowed them to uh, not only spent his own money and state money and other monies to do all this work, but the fact that he has allowed FIFA and other people to modify his baby to this level is remarkable. And the crazy part about all this, Paul, is that the final game is like on June the 15th, the semifinal or whatever that is. Dude, all
Mhm.
of this comes out, the ground suites get uncovered and re-cleaned up and put back in, and we all go back to an AstroTurf or a fake turf field for Cowboy football. And they got to do that quickly because the first preseason game at the stadium, I think, is less than 3 weeks after the semifinal.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting time lapse to see how quickly they take all the dirt out and replace everything as it was. Um, Let me before I let you
Be some
go,
crazy
let me make sure.
vacuuming going on.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you know what type of grass they're using?
Yeah. In fact, if you want to see it for yourself, Paul, there's a link that I posted on my Twitter account this morning from the University of Tennessee. That
Okay.
is one of the organizations that's involved in the development of the grass. So in the indoor stadium, it's a mix of Kentucky bluegrass, some sort of Bermuda, and then the fiber component, the artificial
Okay.
grass it's all of that is grown inside. There's like a natural piece of fabric that has the artificial grass woven into it, and then they put
Mm-hmm.
sand and dirt and the seeds for the grass in there, and they grow the real grass inside of that. And there's actually a really interesting web page on the University of Tennessee website that explains all of that.
Okay.
And if you can't
So
find it, let me know and I'll forward it to you. I'll forward you the link.
I was looking at your Twitter feed and I see it right in that same thread. So I see it.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that after we get off of here. But just I guess the last parting question. What do you think? The World Cup is what, less than 75 days away now. What are fans in store for, when they walk out and see this beautiful grass pitch that they've grown over the past couple months?
I think people will be pretty impressed. If you didn't get to go in the stadium for the Copa and see the grass, it's kind of weird to walk into Jerry World and see sprinklers going off.
Hmm.
That kind of blew my mind a little bit. So I think that'll be the first thing for people to see. The second thing to keep an eye on is just how well the playing surface holds up over 9 games. I mean, that's really a critical part to this. The U.S. played a game just the other day in Atlanta on essentially the exact same installation. And it played very well. I only read one comment about it from Greg Berhalter. No, I'm sorry, that's not who it was. Greg Berhalter is not involved in the national team anymore. Tim Ream.
Gotcha.
Uh, Greg was fired. No, Tim commented on it and
Who
said
no
that
longer works here?
right. Yeah, Tim said it played really well, and they were quite happy with it. And it had just been installed not long before the game, so that's all very promising. I keep reminding people that this is going to be a weird thing for the NFL, because if all these NFL stadiums can manage to do multiple World Cup soccer games on this grass surface, they're all going to look at each other and go, "Hey, why aren't we getting this for football games, NFL games?"
That's something I've seen from a lot of NFL players on Twitter, is them, crying, "Hey, like, you're giving these like, we've been asking for grass for years, and you bend the knee for the soccer players in the World Cup. Why not us?" So
yeah, well, we'll see how all that plays out. But Jerry, the reason why it doesn't happen in Jerry World is because of monster trucks and Taylor Swift. That's the reason why there's not grass inside AT&T Stadium. So there you go.
all right, I appreciate you hopping on with me to
Yeah,
talk about this. And
if you don't mind me taking a moment just to promote the Kickaround real quick.
go for it.
For those who aren't aware, the Kickaround is a weekly Saturday show on the ticket that's specifically about soccer. Andy Swift is the co-host along with me. We've been doing the show now for 12 years, but we've also morphed in what we call World Cup Kickaround. Every prior World Cup, for the last 3 World Cups, we have done a nightly wrap-up show on the ticket, and we're doing that again this World Cup starting June the 10th, 7 p.m. on the ticket after the hard line, Monday through Friday, our normal 2 to 4 slot on Saturdays, and some Sundays through the duration of the tournament. And joining Andy and I this year, our good friend, European football journalist Lars Sivertsen, is coming stateside. He's going to be living in Dallas for 2 months for the tournament, and he will be joining us for all the shows. So we'll have over 30 episodes, over 40 hours of programming, and it should be great. It'll be a really good place to kind of tune in every day to kind of keep up with the tournament from a Dallas perspective. So thanks for letting me promote that.
Absolutely. I appreciate you hopping on with me.